Hey everyone, it's Zach with Palantir Research. Clients just can't get enough of Palantir, and there's a lot to show off, especially in healthcare, new clients, and all other news for the week. So looking at the stock first, Palantir's up a few percentage, but overall I'd say it was a pretty calm week, at least in comparison to the previous. We'll continue to monitor how the market decides to value Palantir. Now starting the week off, we've got some new short interest data as of January 31st, 2024. So keep in mind this is delayed data before earnings came out, but short interest actually went up a smidge by almost 12%. Some are speculating that shorts were covering and were responsible for the recent explosive price action that we saw. So we'll get confirmation once the next round of short interest comes through near the end of February, and if short interest actually decreased then. But also at 52-week highs, there may be some motivation for those who didn't get burned to open up new short positions, so I'll let the daredevils decide for themselves what they'd like to do with the stock. And also at the end of last week, we got a new international partnership with a defense contractor called Skywatch. They create UAVs, or unmanned aerial vehicles, and they're based out in Denmark here, and actually have been widely used in the Ukraine war. This cooperation agreement, though, between Palantir and Skywatch is focused on Palantir being the software end that runs their hardware product. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a result of the performance out in Ukraine and just demonstration of their benefits, but certainly is interesting. These drones are focused on the reconnaissance and intelligence side gathering for the battlefield, so the software intensity makes sense to gather that. Then we get another interview from Keith Fitzgerald, a known Palantir bull here. He's still very bullish on the stock and happy with Palantir continue to expand their use cases, as well as their name coming up in C-suites when their decision makers are thinking about investing in artificial intelligence. But the big sticker shock, of course, per usual, is him saying that Palantir could hit $50 in a couple of years. So we'll see if this interview ages in a good way in a couple of years. Then another partnership here, but more for a sponsorship, or the SCSP, or Special Competitive Studies Project. They're essentially running an expo of the top AI leaders from all kinds of institutions together. Now, with Palantir being a lead sponsor, I'd say this is more symbolic, but still doesn't hurt for the name recognition and being amongst a crowd of other very familiar names. So it's taking place in May, so maybe if there's any speaking from Palantir or any expo from them, we'll hopefully get to hear from them at that point. And then we get a new blog post too from Palantir on the health and life science research that they've powered. Note, there will be a lot of healthcare topics in today's video, but this kicks it off strong from Palantir themselves, showing off how they've helped over 50 peer-reviewed publications back in 2023, and this is with Foundry. And for some metrics, this is across 21.5 million patients and almost 100 institutions. So the value really is tying together everything as a platform and having these institutions working with sensitive data work together securely, which really has been the promising case of Palantir, in my opinion, being this underlying platform to maybe even bring standards to these kind of widespread studies. And it seems to be a no-brainer, at least to me, for more research expansion on top of this, or at least being a widespread tool available for research institutions from education to government to even the private sector to amplify their research. Then we get an announcement from Dressner that Palantir is still a top-tier product, winning 8 awards for technology innovation. These covered so many areas, with the most important, in my opinion, just being general AI, data science, and machine learning. These are the technologies that enterprises are investing in now just to stay relevant and keep up with their competitors. So getting your name as a top product and winner in these studies makes it much easier for these companies to narrow their list and filter them out, and hopefully greatly increases the chances of Palantir winning contracts. Honestly, I'm more surprised if they don't see Palantir on these kind of lists and awards and rankings at this point, and I'm going to continue to keep an eye out for more of these out there. And we also got a downgrade on Palantir here. I'm not bagging on the analyst, honestly. It's actually an HSBC who has a $22 price target with a previous buy rating, downgrading them to a hold. So this is on a valuation basis, meaning they still kept their price target on Palantir and are bullish on the company overall, but believe it's overvalued at this point, at least price-wise. But remember, this is just in their opinion, the valuation right now being so expensive to them, and not necessarily what the overall market is willing to behave for and pay for. So I'll let you be the judge for yourself, but essentially I won't be surprised to see other similar actions after a price run-up from other institutions. But it doesn't mean others can't upgrade or revise their price targets either higher if they believe there's a good reason to. Then we've got Alex Karp speaking at the World Government Summit for 2024 out in Dubai. We get the big topics per usual, Ukraine, Israel, but also the future of AI around the world. And we do get some good nuggets of information that Karp brings up, like the different use cases, basically showing how industry agnostic they are and their capability to spread, but even some very specifics, like saying they power under 20% of beds in the United States. He didn't specifically say the 16% that's been noted before, but under 20% could still be higher. And then calling out their US commercial business a bonanza and many more. The big thing for me is their recent BAPCO announcement as well, which takes place out in that region in the Middle East, East, and this speaking event out there, of course, too, in the United Arab Emirates. If they're deal making out there, it'll be great to expand their footprint to more international commercial customers, especially as Karp's continued disappointment in Europe slowed down adoption of AI and also of Palantir software. But who knows, diversifying elsewhere in the globe is still good for Palantir, wherever they can go, as long as they align with Western interests, although some may argue the level out in the Middle East is a little bit different. Then back to more healthcare, I'd say one of the best articles to come out so far from Palantir, their work with the VA or Veterans Affairs in the United States government. They run the medical care basically for veterans all across the United States, and they shout out that they identified around $90 million in savings opportunities in just 6 months. They show off these different use cases here, but do note a lot of this is actually on the procurement and administration side here for contracts, so different than what we typically hear from hospital clients like nurse or surgery scheduling, but they get into some details on how they were able to pull this off so quickly for the VA. And what I like to see also the most is what comes next, and looks to be an expansion of use cases and more testing on new things to see how they can push Palantir software to maximum value. So definitely give this one a full read when you have a chance. Plus, they're a major client where I wouldn't be surprised to see bigger contracts down the line. Then we've got more hospital clients on the AI Starter Sandbox marketing material. Now, I gave my whole thoughts on a separate video, but they've actually compiled a compelling pitch, at least to me, to get the interest of executives running pretty much any hospital. They provide these 3 AI pre-built modules that all hit important metrics that any hospital tracks, like patient timelines, long-term acute care eligible patients, and denials prevention, which hits the money. And the last one, touching their wallet, really is the big motivator in my opinion. And in addition to what they can provide, they show the tool's cool results that they've achieved with already known and reputable clients with large dollar savings and also with very specified use cases, as well as time and efficiency improvements with the hard-hitting issues that just seem to be the same across all hospitals. So Palantir has made big strides in healthcare the last few years ever since the pandemic, and this almost off-the-shelf offering seems to be the missing piece to really get more hospitals on board and supercharge this business. And with that, you can't forget one of their most prestigious clients too in the world when it comes to healthcare, directly related to this marketing brochure, Cleveland Clinic. They posted an article right on their own website on the good work that they're doing with Palantir and the use cases that they've done so far, with plans to do more. So we get a sneak peek at their latest module on operating room scheduling, which is actually using the cutting edge of not only tying all data together, but also case predictions to ensure their surgeries are able to coincide without a hitch, even if they don't know for sure what surgeries are coming up. So this is alongside the progress they've already been making with their Hospital 360 and staff scheduling, which is kind of the start of the partnership together anyways. So definitely a must-read article, and I'd say the coolest part is the quotes from Cleveland Clinic and saying they want to create the standard when it comes to technology in hospitals. If they can truly pull this off alongside Palantir, I wouldn't be surprised considering the progress they've made so far. So with the tons of news this week really focused on healthcare popping up, I'm overall very bullish on their business performing in healthcare the next decade because the environment being top-line heavy, ripe for squeezing out margins when needed, Palantir, at least from an investment standpoint, stands out more for the operational efficiency in my mind. So the more they can squeeze out percentage points on billions or hundreds of billions in revenue for these health systems, the more valuable that they're going to become and become embedded. And it's already showing by the use cases that they continue to build up that seems to be no-brainers for the executives to at very least take a chance on them and maybe run a boot camp. And the bonus is, if they can embed themselves deep enough into healthcare, it really might become the standard that Cleveland Clinic themselves is aiming for. And that's my goal, honestly, for the company of Palantir to really take over this industry. And Palantir just posted a new panel speaking from Alex Karp out in Germany. It's really focused on the AI regulation and security aspects out in Europe. We get a few tidbits from there on Karp's views, of course, on the future and dangers of sharing technology with adversaries. But really, it's a larger discussion that will continue to take place, but not too much for investors and the business side of things. So check it out if you have a chance. It's 44 minutes long, but Karp speaking is a much smaller portion there if you're interested. So tons of news, like I said. Let me know what you found the most important out of all of these. Let me know below, and I'll see you in the next video.